All right, welcome to my messy lair. We're at the 2023 CrossFit Games. We're finally here. And yeah, we've been here for about a week trying to get acclimatized, getting some training in, and we're almost ready to get underway. We've got a couple days until we start. I'm going to try to give you guys a peek behind the curtain, a little behind the scenes access to what kind of goes on prior to the games and during the games. So follow along and we'll see how this year goes. Tuesday, August 1st. We've kind of been in this holding pattern for a bit. We checked in Monday. We had an athlete sort of welcome reception on the Monday. And then we had some orientation today. And then tomorrow's opening ceremonies. And so there's a lot of days of stuff that's been bringing us to the venue that's kind of official games activity, but no competitive events. So it's been weird. We're kind of like, we've been hanging out. All the athletes have been together for a few days now, and we've still got a whole rest of today and all day tomorrow to go, and then we'll actually get to compete. So it's been funny. I feel like normally things start a lot faster, but now it feels like this slow burn. Like we're kind of in this weird holding pattern, and we're like in purgatory. Everybody wants to get going, but we've got one more day to kill before we actually get to do it.
What's the energy like this year? What's your energy like this year going into it? Are you more relaxed than in the past? Or are you just as anxious as ever?
I think knowing don't start for 2 days, it's good to just stay relaxed and try not to walk around with your fist balled up for too long and waste energy. But I'm also trying to make an effort to stay a little more relaxed leading into the competition. It also kind of helps. We've had a couple things announced that we know are coming up, but nothing that's really anxiety provoking so far, other than maybe the weightlifting. We've got 2 attempts on the snatch and clean and jerk, I think, and that that is high stress, but. And things like the 5K, like it's gonna hurt, but there's not a lot of stuff that's really execution heavy so far, other than the weightlifting. We've got this bike announced, and starting with a 40-minute AMRAP is sort of low pressure. Like you got to ease into it. You can't do anything crazy. You can't be too aggressive. You can't be too reckless, or you're gonna pay for it. And so I look at that and I'm like, there's some few guys in there that we know are really strong cyclists and are maybe gonna be much better than the field, but you just can't really do anything crazy. You just have to be consistent over 40 minutes, and that's kind of an easy on-ramp. It's not like starting an event with a 1-minute workout that you have to be perfect. You have to be, it's like shooting out of a cannon. You sort of get to control your energy in event 1, which is kind of nice. It's like a kind of nice, relaxing way to start. And then, our second event, we have that pig chipper, and that's gonna hurt a little worse, and it's gonna be a little hotter, and we're kind of trying to keep an eye on what the heat's gonna do, because I think Thursday's meant to be our hottest day, and there's a couple long workouts that day outside. So other than that, it just hasn't been. There's nothing so far that's really stressing you out. So I don't know. We've got a bit of information, but a little bit's fine. We don't have many details, so there's not much to worry about. So far, I've been able to keep it relatively chill. Did 1 practice lap today is all we got to do.
One single lap.
Yeah, 1 lap. So we'll see. I think again, 40 minutes is a long time, and you can power through a couple laps, but you could probably, if you're not careful, you blow your legs up with 20 minutes to go in that workout and feel real dead in the water. So I think it's like you have to be riding threshold. It's gotta be hard, but you can overreach pretty easily, especially if you get too caught up in a race early. So it's fun. Those workouts are fun. Like you have so much to think about, trying to avoid contact, figure out where to make plays and pass people. So it's going to be 40 minutes that goes by fast. Those are really cool workouts to do. I don't know how it shakes out for me. I've done lots of biking this year, but I think that it's just tough to know. Yeah. And there's so much of it is a game in racing. And if you haven't really raced bikes, I think there's hard to know how it's going to go. But it's very interesting, and I think it's a bit trappy. Like there can be some damage that goes on there. There's 3 significant portions on the course, probably the only places that you can really carry speed, where you have you're on a gravel path for a short period, and I think a couple of them are pretty long, gradual downhills straight on gravel. So that's where you're going to carry the most speed of anywhere on the course. And as soon as you get off grass, you want to hit the gas. You're like, hey, I'm going to pick up speed. But they all end with a tight corner on loose gravel. So it's like, it's a total trap. Like you're gonna be in a race with someone trying to carry, who can carry speed the longest and be last on the brakes and try to make, again, advantage into the corner and make a pass. But if you're too late on the brakes and you're braking into a turn on loose gravel, you're gonna lay down the bike. And so like, I'm expecting there to be lots of crashes on those corners, that people slide out. I just think it's inevitable that, and for 40 men and 40 women, where they put those corners feels very intentional to have a little bit of action on those corners. So there's some places like that. Like there's places where there's a lot of slow corners, and it's going to look kind of boring almost. Like we're going to be biking kind of slow because it's just sluggish on the wheels. But there's areas that you can go fast, but it's very risky. And so it's gonna be interesting to see. I think that people who have some experience and just confidence handling the bike in corners like that on loose terrain will have a huge advantage. Yeah, I've done the pig a few times, and I usually handle it pretty well. I've also done like flip sled at a couple different events, and I've done really well. But that's like, on paper, that's a workout that looks pretty good for me. I'm a little leery of what the heat's going to be like. I think that middle section, you do pig flips, and then you do chest to bar, toes to bar, wall balls, and then back. And I think where you spend almost 10 minutes with your hands over your head between all those toes to bar, chest to bar, wall balls, and back. So those wall balls won't feel great, and you're not moving much. So when you get to the rig, you're going to kind of just be standing in one place, baking in the sun, and not really moving. And workouts that have transitions where you jog, sometimes you get a little breeze and it kind of cools you off. But that turf can get pretty hot, and I think that it's going to be hot out on the field. So after the long bike, when your legs are tired, I think that those wall balls in the heat are going to not feel like people expect or hope them to feel like. And that middle section might get a lot harder than people think. So, I think on paper it looks fine, but I think it's not one that you want to be overly aggressive at the start, because anything that has an implement like the pig at the end, it's like if you can't flip it at the end, nobody cares how fast you went in the first bit, right? Like you could be leading by a minute, and all of a sudden if you have to take 20 seconds between every flip, people can just eat you up at the back. So it's a bit more delicate than I think it looks on paper. Like sometimes it looks a little bit like you could fly through it. So far it's it looks like it's going to be a hard week. I'm glad the weather's cooled down a little bit. I think that's going to help us. But there's some very grindy efforts, like 40 minutes on the bike, that pig flip workout, that 5K run already. Like Helen is like, it's all gas. Like there's a lot of everything right now that's very all gas. We know we've got a gymnastics test somewhere in there that's probably going to be very high execution, high skill, and like not just heart beating out of your ears hard. But a lot of it so far that's been announced is very, like, the intensity's high. So I think it's gonna be a hard week. So we'll see. I think we'll try to make sure I can recover well. And I kind of had some heat issues last year, so that was why I came earlier this year, to get myself a little more adjusted and give myself a chance. But the other thing that we, I guess, have so far is it doesn't look like we have a swim or any water event so far. If we do, I don't know where they're going to put it on the schedule, and we didn't get any swim stuff or anything. So that's kind of been the talk recently. So we'll see. That's not bad for me, but now I look at all those land events and I'm like, oof, the bike, the run, that kind of stuff it's going to hurt. You're going to have to make it hurt. Seat, baby.
How'd it go today?
Yeah, started a little rocky, as it often does, but we picked it up, ended pretty good. So it was a good day overall. We started on the bike today, and I'll be honest, I lacked some aggression on the bike, and it cost me a little bit. I still was beat up at the end. I don't know how much more I had to give. I think if I'd have started a bit more aggressive, I might have landed in a better pack and been able to do some more pack riding, because I just didn't have a good group to ride with for a lot of it. But the last 3 bike events we've had, I've ended up in pretty major crashes. So I think it's hard for me to, in that event, just decide to be aggressive, because there's a lot of people out that aren't riding well, and that course was also very rife for collision. There were some pretty dangerous corners, and there was a lot of people who were, let's say, not sharing the road well. But, so it was
out there?
interesting. Oh yeah, there was a few. There was a few big collisions. I know Luke Parker went down pretty hard. Lazar went down hard twice. I think he crashed with Medeiros twice. And so they had some heat. So some friction there after that event. But it was interesting. Like there was a lot of opportunity for that. And it just depends how people corner. And the gravel corners were it was loose gravel. And a lot of people, if you're trying to push for a position and you're late on the brakes into one of those corners, you can just lay the bike down. So it was a pretty sketchy course, but it was good. It was pretty fun. That's a fun workout to do. You're very engaged in the race and figuring out how to pass people and how to maneuver. So the time goes by really fast, but it's long.
Yeah, that was a long time
and
to
it's
go out
longer
there.
than it would feel. It was funny. The last lap, all the fans are like telling you how much time is left on the clock. Mm-hmm. So everybody keeps saying like, "There's just 2 minutes left, 2 minutes left." But as long as you're past the start-finish line, you still have to finish that last lap and race it.
Yeah.
So the lead pack raced like 44 minutes, and like other people might have been 46, something like that. So people are like 2 minutes left, and you're like, no, there's like 8 minutes left. And so it's not exactly just max out, send it time when there's that much time left, but. Those are fun. So, long events to start are a little less stressful, I guess. But everybody paid pretty hard for that. We had a very short turnaround between that workout and the pig flip workout.
Yeah.
And there was some chaos on the field.
Yeah, a lot of guys getting helped off, stuff like that.
Yeah, we were lined up to go out, and we're in the tunnel, and they basically carried like 3 guys out right in front of us.
Yeah.
It was like a few guys that just went down with cramps. Like I think Nick Matthew, Colton Mertens, a couple guys just had bad quad calf cramps and got helped off by medical. And we were all like, oh God, what are we about to walk into here? And it was pretty much that. It was exactly what we thought. It was really hot out for that. The wall balls got brutal. I had a brutal calf cramp coming back, kind of like my last 20 wall balls. And then you start doing the gymnastics, and was breaking it up lots, but every time you land on the ground, you kind of feel it like squeeze. And then I started doing pig flips, and it's like my lead foot where I kind of get up on my toe and help to push the pigs, and I just couldn't really do it. I'd pick the pig and get it on my hip, and then it would just like cramp up where you feel like it's right there, like one more push, and it would be one of those out of control cramps that would just send you to the ground. So my pig flips at the end were fine. They were a little slower than I maybe would have liked because I was very nervous about blowing up my calf, and I had to kind of use all my arms to make up for it. So I was like to hips and then really a lot of arms to flip it after that. So, got out unscathed, but it was a lot of people afterwards talking about the same things. Like, yeah, lots of quads, lots of calves, lots of things like that were just getting crushed. So I think we just sweated a ton on that bike race and didn't have enough time to really replenish well. Mm-hmm. But then the evening we didn't have to use our legs, so it was fine.
Yeah.
We just got to use nothing but arms.
How'd that one go?
It was good. I made a couple errors at the start. I fumbled on the stairs going up at the beginning twice, which is annoying, and I lost some time there. But I'm a lot better on the pullovers than everybody else, so I pretty much caught all the leaders in our heat on the pullovers. And then it's endurance. It's like overhead endurance, tricep endurance stuff, and I don't have the best overhead endurance relative to some of those guys. Mm-hmm. So on the way back, I was really feeling it. I kind of pushed it on the pullovers to make up time, made my pirouette and stairs pretty nice, and then I took a bit of a gamble, and I went stairs straight into handstand push-ups and tried to knock out the first 4, and really quickly realized it was maybe too much, a bit off more than I could chew. So I was resting on my head to try to rest my arms and then kick up and walk and then do the same. So I did a really slow 4 reps, and then I barely got to the line. And then I just took like a holiday. I took like a 30 or 40 second rest just to make sure I could do the next 4 fine and do the pyramid at the end. Mm-hmm. So Roman kind of got away and Justin on that one. And I ended up 3rd in our heat, and I think 6th overall. So I think I was 6th on the second 2 workouts today after like a 27th or something this morning. So, picked it up a little bit. It's day 1. Better way to finish the day, and I think we're gonna feel it in the legs tomorrow. We're on the sleds first thing in the morning. We've got the alpaca workout that we were supposed to do last year. We're going to do a version of that in the morning, and so we'll see how that goes. But it's nice to be started. It's nice to be underway. Things feel normal. It's always nerve-wracking when you're just getting rolling.
All right. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, bright and early.